Hello, I'm Jamie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the trailer that's been released for the German version of the BBC show Ghosts. This is really exciting. The show is going to be released, I think, weekly from the 7th of March. And it is apparently going to be made available on Prime Video. So hopefully that means there's a way that people in the UK and in America can watch it, hopefully with English subtitles. But it might just be that you might have to use a VPN to get on the German version of Prime Video, or it might be available to purchase, something like that. But hopefully it does mean we'll be able to watch it. This is the first trailer that we have received from one of the new remakes that is currently in the works. So the other ones that we have are Australia, France, Greece and Spain, and this is obviously in addition to the US version that we've got. We don't know too much about the Australian, the Spanish or the Greek versions yet. We just know that they're happening, but we do have the cast announcement and the characters and the synopsis for the French version, which I am going to be doing a video on as well. The information about the characters and the cast for the German version was released quite a few months ago, and I did do a video on that when it was released, so I'll link that above if you want to check that out and get a bit more information about the characters, because this I'm mainly going to be talking about the trailer. But in case you don't want to watch that video and you just want a quick overview, the characters are pretty similar to the ones in the UK one. So you have the two main characters, which seem very similar to Alison and Mike. And then in terms of the ghosts that we have a caveman, obviously the equivalent of Robin. We have a Roman soldier, which is a twist on the captain's character. We have a countess, who is obviously the version of Fanny. We also have the feminist maid, which I think is the version of Mary, especially in terms of like appearance and things like that. I don't know if the actual character herself will be different. We have an insurance salesman, who is their version of Julian. He's not a politician this time, but he does have like the no trousers and is obviously quite a sleazy character and corrupt character. So I think that's an interesting twist. We have a teacher who is sort of their version of, and also sort of not, of Pat. The only similarities that we have is that she was killed by an arrow through her neck, and that she does seem to be from the same era and just seems to be like a very sweet, nice character like Pat is. And then last we have a poet. This is obviously an equivalent of Thomas, and yeah, it does look pretty similar. So yeah, they have taken most of the characters that were in the UK version and only really twisted up a few. I would say the only real original ones would be like the Roman soldier and even the teacher. I think those are the only two that I would say are original. Obviously they are still based on the British characters, but I will give credit to the American version. I do think they did a better job at creating their own characters. They obviously had some that they took directly, like Pete, he's pretty much like Pat, but like they did kind of make more of an effort, I think, to have slightly different characters, so it's not all the same. That's not to say that these characters will be exactly the same as the ones in the British version, because they can always like evolve in different ways and go in different directions, but in terms of appearance and the selection of characters, it is very similar. It definitely feels they are going more down the direct adaptation route rather than using the British version as like an inspiration to do a similar thing and create own characters and own stories. It definitely does feel like it's going more just, I don't want to say copying, but more down that route. I will link the trailer down below and I will try to include a few clips if I can. There were no subtitles on, like English subtitles, on the trailer, but somebody did very kindly put like a transcript in English about what's being said. So yeah, that's really helpful. So thank you to whoever did that. When I was watching the trailer, it definitely feels like you're watching the UK version just being spoken in German. It's really, really similar to what we have in the UK. It's the same setup, obviously, and there's same jokes and things that we've had in the British version in this trailer. And this was, to an extent, to be expected. It is an adaptation, so there are going to be lots of similarities. However, I was hoping that we'd see a bit more originality in the trailer. This was the same with the US one. I think we felt all the same that it was just going to be a direct copy. And it was for the first few episodes, with like the exception of a few characters being different. But they definitely did take it in their own direction, and I would say it's completely distinct from the UK one now. So hopefully this one will be the same. But yeah, first impressions, very, very similar. And yeah, not looking too original at this point. So with the trailer, we start off with the house. The house I do think looks really nice. I think it's a lovely house, and I like that it's distinct enough from the UK version and the American version. This is something that I like, that everything's done. I think each house that's been chosen for each version definitely seems to be original and to reflect kind of what we see, what we think about each country, and their different architecture and things like that. I'm not sure what era of history this is from, the architecture and the look of this building, but it is really nice. On the outside, it doesn't look too run down in its appearance. There are some signs of obviously it being a lot of work to fix in terms of peeling paint and wallpaper. But I can't quite work out which direction they're going to go down. In the UK one, we obviously have them just face problem after problem and just struggle with it and not really get anywhere until the very end. Whereas in the American one, they do fix it up quite quickly in comparison to the UK one and actually get it up running as a B&B. Not sure which direction this one's going to go in. It does seem to be in better condition than the UK one was, but in a worse condition than the American one. So I'm struggling to see. In the trailer, we definitely see a lot of them fixing things up. So I think it might reveal a lot more problems as we go on. That's just my guess though. So we do have a little clip of the main character Emma, who is their version of Alison, getting an electric shock, quite a bad one. And this is what I think makes her able to see ghosts. It's not 100% confirmed, but I think it's obviously an injury, and from that point in the trailer we then see Emma start to see the ghosts. So I definitely think this is what causes it. I like that it's a different accident to what we've had in both the UK one and the American one. Obviously the UK one is quite dark. Julian pushes her out the window, basically trying to kill her, whereas in the American one it's a bit nicer. She just falls down the stairs. It's an accident in the US one. This one, I think, still could go either way. I think it's obviously looking like an accident, but they could very easily go down a route of one of the ghosts being able to control electricity, like with Robin. So it could be something that they're doing to try and drive her out of the house, because it definitely feels like that is the same plotline that they're going with them coming in, wanting to turn it into a hotel, and the ghosts not liking that idea and trying to sabotage her. So this definitely feels like it would be part of the sabotage and to try and force her to get out and show that it's too dangerous, things like that. So yeah, this is what I think is making her able to see the ghosts. And yeah, I do feel like they're going to go down the route that it might be one of the ghosts doing it, but there's no proof of that. It's just a guess at this point, a theory, but I like that idea better because it was just something that with the UK one we had is this oh my god, are they ever going to mention it now that she's getting to know them, now that she's getting to like them? Is this going to be something that's ever revealed? And I quite liked that. I do think just it being an accident works too, that's absolutely fine, but yeah, personally I just quite like that slightly darker aspect to it. Now, as I said, there is a lot of similarities in the UK one. I mean, the format of the trailer is pretty similar to the format of the UK one. There's a lot of similar jokes. So for example, we have Greet, who I don't know if that's how you say her name, but she's the version of Mary, and she's doing the whole get out, get out, get out thing while Emma is on the toilet, obviously in German. But yeah, so that's a joke that's happening. We also have Adelaide, who is the version of Fanny, falling out of the window every night. So that's again another similarity. And we have Frederick, who is their version of Thomas, spying on and I think probably going to be falling in love with Emma. It could be that he falls in love with, if they do want to switch it up, that they falls in love with her husband, but I do think if you're going to fall for someone, it makes sense for it to be the one that can see them. It just is able to kind of move that story along a bit more, and just be an extra annoyance for Emma. I definitely really like the costumes. I think they do look quite realistic. I wouldn't say as realistic as the UK ones, but they're not too clean. They are a bit rough around the edges, which I quite like. I would say I don't particularly like the caveman outfit. I think it looks a bit fake. And I don't really like how Thomas's outfit is pretty much an exact copy. I mean, I imagine the fashion trends were probably the same in the UK and Germany at that time, but I would have liked to see perhaps a different take on it, or maybe him be a poet in like a different era of history. However, I will definitely give credit to the costumes. I think the maid's costume is good. I think Svenny's costume, the teacher's costume is great. And I really like the Roman one as well. I do think as a group, they look quite good. I think you can definitely see the good range of history throughout them. I am quite excited to see this version. It's the first non-English language version that we've had. And yeah, I don't really know too much about German television, so I'm definitely interested to see how this will do in Germany, considering both the UK one and the US one have done exceptionally well in their respective countries. Like, it's such a hit, and it would be nice to see that just so many more adaptations, and I'd like it to be a hit in Germany as well. The character I'm most excited to see how they go with it. Actually, there's two I would say. I think the Roman soldier, I think that's a really good idea. I kind of wish we had that in the UK one, considering Romans have just been such an important part of history in Europe. So it definitely makes sense to have a Roman soldier in a version. So I'm excited to see that. I'm also really excited to see Svenny, who is the version of Pat, but she's a teacher, and I'd like to see how she ended up in that accident. I think obviously a scout leader, it makes more sense for him to be around archery, but I don't think it's quite as common for a teacher to be. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that would happen. Maybe like a school trip gone wrong. That's where I think it's probably going to go. Or maybe she volunteers at like a scout leadership as well, or Girl Guides, whatever they have in Germany. But yeah, I think her character seems quite unique in comparison to the other characters that we've got. She seems really sweet, and I think she's definitely going to be like the parent of the group, because we see her like telling off Frederick and being like, oh, well, what have we told you about spying, or like eavesdropping, things like that. So I definitely think that she's going to be that kind of character, and I really like that. I think that's quite nice. She might be somebody that seems quite helpful to Emma at first, but again, like Pat, is quite particular, has different demands and things like that. So yeah, I'm quite excited for that character, and I do think the insurance salesman is a good twist on Julian's character. I do wish that they would have gone a bit more original with some of the characters, or at least introduced a few more original ones, because they have reduced the amount of characters that they've got in the show. We're kind of missing a Kitty version, so only really one, and there isn't any sign of any basement ghosts. Which obviously the UK one has the plague ones, and the American version has the cholera ghosts. It would have been interesting to see something like that. I mean, I think if they were going to do it, it would be the plague ghosts, because I believe Germany was affected by the plague as well. It was like all of Europe. I'm definitely interested to see, like I said, how the characters will develop, whether or not they just kind of look the same, and then we'll have different things going forward, like whether the maid will have been burned at the stake like Mary, or whether the politician dies in the same way as Julian, whether the Roman soldier is going to be similar to the captain. He definitely seems to be authoritarian like the captain was, but yeah, whether or not they'll go down that route. And it definitely feels like with the Countess that she's going to be probably killed by her husband just because she's falling out of the window in the same way, but they could take that in a different direction, with it being like maybe she was killed by a servant that she had or something like that. Like, they could definitely go in different directions, and I hope that they do, because I like it being different to the versions that we've already seen. And I know that is difficult because obviously they're going to be viewing it from, this is something that German people are going to be watching, rather than people who are from the UK who are used to the UK version. But I do like a bit more originality. I do find it quite funny how similar the house looks on the inside compared to the UK version. If you told me they were filmed in the same place, I would believe you. There's so many similarities. Which, yeah, I don't know what the architecture was like in Germany, but yeah, I don't know. That might just be what houses looked like from that era. But yeah, I'm definitely really excited to see this. I think it looks really good. Hopefully, like I've said multiple times, that I hope they do take it in a more original direction. But I do think what they've got so far looks good, and it definitely brings me a lot of hope that they're going to do it justice. So yeah, I'm really excited for it, and I'm really looking forward to watching it. Hopefully it's available in the UK, or at least there is a way that we could watch it. And I will do a review of the series once it's all out, like all of series 1. That's my plan, and yeah, hopefully I can find somewhere where there's subtitles, because I wouldn't be able to watch it all in German. I wouldn't have a clue what's going on. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think it looks good? Are you looking forward to it, or are you not that bothered about the adaptations? Are you just happy to rewatch the one that we've got already. If you like this video, then please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos to do with ghosts. As I said, I am going to be doing a video on the French version that we are going to see, I think, in spring. I think after the German one is released though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!